Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Falaring alongside Asukwo James. Hope you had a great weekend.
Yes, I did. Good morning. Good morning, Nigerians. I did.
Indeed. Quite a number of, on the menu, so to speak, quite a number of topics. All being well, of course, we'll be touching on Senator, Buruji Kashamu, who passed, over the weekend. Following complications from COVID-19. We'll be also, looking at the forthcoming Edo election. And then, if we can, we'd like to make it to coping with COVID-19, the new normal as it regards religious houses and they're being opened up. Okay, but first of all, let's start off with petrol tanker drivers apparently have threatened that they are about to go on strike. We quickly shot our woman over there, Sharon Ejason, has a report.
Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers NUPENG have directed tanker drivers to withdraw services in Lagos State from Monday 10th of August. These followed failure of authorities in the state to address three major issues that caused pains for the hapless petroleum tanker drivers for several months. According to the statements jointly signed by the National President of NUPENG, William Sakburia, and the General Secretary, Olawale Afolabi, members of the union are deeply pained, frustrated and agonized by challenges faced by petroleum tanker drivers in Lagos and are left with no option but to withdraw their services until the state government and other relevant stakeholders address them.
The President is our amiable chairman.
Some of the challenges are extortion and harassment of petroleum tanker drivers by security agents and thugs, maintenance of containerized truck at Apapa, Kirikiri and beachland areas of Lagos, as well as collusion by government officials to hinder loading at depot and tank farms. NUPENG added that members have made several appeals to Lagos State government and the Presidential Task Force for the congestion of Apapa Port without response. While activities in petroleum stations remain stable, motorists who were able to purchase products want the strike to be averted.
The exploration by touts is too much. At times we pay as much as 4,000 naira daily. Government should please intervene. We transporters are not making any profit. We carry less passengers now and they pay more. They have been complaining.
Well, I expect government to react to that and make sure that the issue of area boys of the street is properly taken care of, and then they should sit these guys down and negotiate with them so that things will move forward as expected.
With the partial closure of the third mainland bridge and ongoing construction within the axis of Lagos State, which has increased the number of hours people spend on the road, motorists, residents are hopeful that the Lagos State government and other relevant agencies will intervene. Sharon Ejason, TVC News, Lagos.
Okay, and as I said, Sharon is on the streets. We'll be connecting up with her, but this is not the kind of thing that we need. In fact, this incident threatened, as it were, last week. But the vice chair of the Presidential Task Force on decongesting all of Apapa had said that that had been sorted and it wasn't an issue anymore. Now, apparently, it has come back.
Yeah.
So,
I know they had a meeting yesterday, but it failed. It was deadlocked. And those issues have been there for a very long time. Extortion, bad roads, leading to where the tank farms are and all, and the depot. And so for them to now say they want to go on strike, it shows that maybe they've had it here. And so the best thing is for the government to go back, see how they can address this issue once and for all. Lagos is not one of the states that have had, issues like this. I know in Rivers State there was a time IPMAN also went on strike, threatened that they want to go, and they went on strike for 3 days or so. So if what they should do, NUPENG and all those who are concerned should do, because we don't want to start queuing up for fuel. They've already increased the pump price. People are still trying to adjust themselves. Now, if we now have long queues again, it's going to be another serious problem for Lagosians, because it's just in Lagos.
Okay.
So those who are the stakeholders should just meet.
okay,
and see how they can address
let's
this.
find out. I hear Sharon is ready for us now. Good morning, Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Okay, Sharon, good morning. Yori Folani and Azukwo here.
Yes, I'm live at Edo.
Okay, Sharon.
Yes, I'm live at Edo bus terminal, where we have Eden Depot, where we usually have lots of tanker drivers come and load fuel to take or move over Lagos and its surrounding environment. The information I got looking through Lagos State this morning is that people can still access fuel or fuel products easily, but from experience, it will take about 24 or 48 hours before motorists start to feel the impact of the tanker driver strike. The implication is Lagos State Lagos State is responsible for fuel products around the northern part of the country, some parts of the eastern part of the country, and some then the southwest. This means only Calabar and Port Harcourt might be the state that might not be adversely be affected by this strike that has begun today.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sharon. We wanted to keep it short and sharp, and because we're sure we're going to get official reaction soon, and so we'll know where it's going from there. Thank you very much for updating us, Sharon. Okay, so that's a quick one.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You know, so we just hope that they will just meet so that they can address these issues.
Especially as it seemed to work last week, according to Comrade Coyote who had said that that matter had been resolved, and apparently now it has reared its head again. So no doubt we'll be hearing either from him or from some other official source, because that's the last thing we want, what Sharon just said.
Exactly.
That all of those places would be, that Lagos was responsible in a logistic sort of a way for, would actually end up, we've gotten used to fuel scarcity as a thing of the past. And since this would not be original, genuine scarcity, but a sort of a tactical strategy.
Artificial.
You know how it is. Okay, let's move on to the sad news. Senator Buruji Kashamu, he passed on at 62. He's a senator. He last represented Ogun East in Ogun State, and the outpouring has been phenomenal. Even in his native Ijebu-Igbo, when he was laid to rest, there was such a big crowd there. Everybody has been speaking about the senator as well, mostly about his personal qualities. That here was a man who was very, very kind, and sort of related with people a lot. So those people, I even heard one saying, one person saying that, who's going to be paying my children's school fees now? You probably heard that comment as well. And then they said, his colleagues say he was a passionate person on the issues that he believed in. And so he's going to be sorely missed. All sorts of dignitaries, governors, KBACs, actually, paid him respect of, attending the funeral service. So it is what it is. It's a reminder. We've had comments from people in our society too. Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu had said, this again is another reminder about COVID-19 being a real and present danger. You know how it is. And those with underlying conditions, especially, because the point was made that, yes, he passed as a result of complications from COVID-19. We also will be connecting up with people who knew him. We expect shortly to be joined by, some of his close associates. But in the meantime, we have a package that we produce from our Beguta correspondent, Kazim Olowe.
A cloudy, cheerless atmosphere at Ijebu-Igbo as residents join the Buruji Kashamu family in grieving the death of Senator Buruji, who died of complications relating to COVID-19. For them, they have lost one of their own, a philanthropist and pillar of support to many of them in the town. They defied the lockdown order to pay their last respect to the politician. They described him as their benefactor and lover of the masses.
He gives people food, not only Ijebu-Igbo, throughout Ogun State. Give them what they need. But It have already gone. You can't see somebody like that man in this town in 10 years, more than 10 years.
Man of the people, a man in a community, a man of millions. Is a very great people. Man of the poor, man, even it's more than 1,000 people. When are we going to see a person like Buruji again?
Many of them defy the COVID-19 guidelines of social distancing and the use of face mask. The governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, who led dignitaries to the burial, described him as a great philanthropist and politician of repute.
He's someone that I've known for over 25 years. He was a very courageous man, a very passionate fighter for any cause that he believed in. Senator Buruji was a consummate politician, a very tactful one at that. But more importantly, Senator Buruji was a very cheerful giver, particularly to the needy.
Friends and political associates described him as a politician with a difference. Even some of his political opponents graced his burial.
He played the role assigned to him by the Almighty God. The role granted him the opportunity to play. He has played it, and is no more. So, you can only ask for forgiveness of his sins.
I haven't known him for quite a long time. I would just say he was a great personality in his own right. He understood best himself, but he was a very generous human being. There is no doubt that around this area and Ogun State, especially in Nigeria, his absence will be felt.
He was described as a politician with a difference, with another approach to politics in Nigeria, using law and politics to achieve its aim. Residents of Ijebu described him as a cheerful giver who touched the lives of the people. This is the end of an era. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Ijebu.
Okay, may his soul rest in peace. He had many close associates, clearly a man beloved by many.
Exactly.
And Senator Ben Bruce.
His friend. He was the one that broke the news.
He broke the news, and he said they were very much like brothers, you know. And since then, we've seen clips of films and at social functions where Senator Bruce has been, was with the now late Buruji Kashamu. We have another close associate of his, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, Senate spokesman. Good morning, Senator Bashiru.
Hello, good morning, Yori.
Thank you very much for, making the time. First of all, condolences. I'm here alongside my colleague Asukwa James in a studio. Did you know the late senator well?
I would say that we are not particularly close to him, but his reputation is legendary. And of course, we've been in the opposing camp politically, him being the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. The closest encounter I had with him was during the contest in 2014 at the Osun governorship election, where my leader contested, and Buruji was around to canvass for his leading opponent, Iyolo Mishore, His Excellency. And I would say that in terms of political sophistication, is somebody who is who I would call an able opponent in political field. He brought a bottom-up approach to politics, and I would say that his tactics against us was a tough nut to crack at the election, but eventually we entered the triumphant. And of course, I've also read about him, and I would say that in my professional career as legal practitioner, I've represented my client against his interests, particularly about his island hotel in Lagos. So I believe he has lived a very interesting life, and of course that is why we are even talking about him in a national television.
Indeed.
And of course, it is Almighty God that will determine what one has done, either in secret or in public. But what I saw about the tumultuous crowd going and defying the COVID-19, it shows that he's indeed a man of the people, and I hope that Ijebu people and Ogun people will find an able replacement for his philanthropic effort, which is legendary too.
Indeed. Well, as a senator yourself, were you at any time in the Senate with him, alongside him, because he was of the 8th Senate?
I was not in the Senate with him.
Okay.
He was in the 8th Senate. I'm in the 9th Senate.
Okay.
But of course, Senate as an institution has a tradition of respect and regard for colleague senators, and it's also appropriate to, on behalf of the Nigerian Senate, express sincere condolences to the family of the late senator, and of course the great people of Ogun State, and of course the Yoruba land. And I think I will say that I adopt into the very clear, ebullient message of my leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sending condolence to the family and to the people of Ogun State.
Yes, and it's noteworthy that Tinubu is actually in an opposing party, but as a statesman, that message has been put out because a Nigerian has fallen, so to speak.
Yes, and I think it's not question whether you belong to opposing party. Collectively, death is something common to all of us, and the death of the senator is a reminder of our collective mortality. It's not something that anybody should express joy over, or because ultimately everybody will also die. Then, in terms of political divide, I know that our political party knows that when it comes down to real politicking, Buruji Kashamu can be somebody who can be dynamic and look at the larger interests of the society. And I believe ultimately it's about humanity. If somebody died and you see that tumultuous crowd coming out without being induced, that says a lot of the spontaneous feeling of people about him partaking in humanity and the collective support of the people of his locality, which I think is a high thing that all of us should strive to be remembered alive and also in death.
Indeed, Senator, it's good that you make the point, because whatever anybody else might think, you see the outpouring from ordinary people who are not political. This is ordinary fellow human beings attesting to the sterling qualities of the man. That was their perspective. Everybody's entitled to his own opinion, but the perspective that we got was that this is a painful loss. People saying that, where will we get another one? Among the things we heard about Senator Buruji Kashamu was that he was tenacious politically when he believed in a cause. I don't know if you have an idea of some of those issues that he was so politically tenacious about in the Senate, to sort of just speak about his career in the Senate.
I think what I read about him is that on some occasion in the Senate, as tough as the 8th Senate was, he never took a strictly partisan position, particularly when it comes to national issue and national development. Although some people ascribed ulterior motive to his support for the other party on certain national issue. But I would say that irrespective of what you do, people will definitely want to put you under the bus and run you down. But the fact is that when it mattered most, he spoke against a sectarian approach to national development, which was very necessary, particularly in the 8th Senate, when it appeared that the National Assembly was far becoming a strong arm of opposition, notwithstanding that it was supposed to have a majority of the people in the National Assembly.
Okay.
And of course, his politics is very tough, I must tell you, because even as member of another party, we must know personality and criteria. And I think he took with favor the urge to see that his party triumph in the Southwest region, not in Ogun State. But of course, the sophistication of our own political party was a serious albatross to him. So it's somebody you look forward to when you are going to a political battle, particularly in the Southwest, that you will meet him there. I was aware that he was in Ekiti for the election of Governor Fayose for his second term. So it's, he has lived.
One second, Senator. I beg your pardon. 1 second, Senator. We have a caller. A viewer has called in, Mr. George in Lagos. Thank you for calling in, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
And good morning to Asuko.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, this issue of the senator that passed on that you are discussing, I've been forced into reminiscing on it since last night. Reminiscing in the sense that how can Nigerians or politicians, why is it that good people do not succeed in politics? Honest people do not succeed in politics. It's not even only in Nigeria. If you are honest and you are in politics, you are not likely to succeed. You only succeed if you please the people, irrespective of how you came about the means for pleasing them. Does the end justify the means? This man we are talking about, a lot of people have been castigating OBJ. I don't like OBJ, but what he said was not wrong. As we speak, Uncle Yori, this gentleman in question is wanted in the U.S. for wrongdoing. But at home, it is similar to what happened to Ibori in Delta State.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Senator, I don't know if you had any remarks.
What I would just say that a cynical perception of politicians is not good for our polity. I say with all sense of modesty that I was brought up as a professional before I joined politics. To make a banal statement that not honest people are not in politics is not good well, because we need the best of our people to participate in politics. And as Plato said, the highest level of calling is public service. If we throw away all ourselves away from serving our society because of this negative perception, it will not work. And when it comes to issue of damnify anybody, the law is clear that every person is presumed to be innocent until the contrary is proved. So I think I want to encourage our people who are professionals, who are also people of integrity, to get engaged in politics and not to cast away politics as those they may consider to be the drag of our society. In all, I still express my condolence to the people of Ogun State for this great loss of their son.
Indeed, I want to thank you, Senator, for your time. We know how busy your schedules can be over there. Thank you very much, Senator Ajimola Bashiru, Senate
You're welcome,
spokesman. All right, then. Our pleasure. Okay, so there we are. I don't know. I think we should we as different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. We've heard all sorts. People who are close to him, they have raised a different issue from that was put out by former President Obasanjo, that at each turn he had reportedly won in court, is what we hear. In any case, all of it, he's gone.
Yes.
He's gone. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen. You know, that statement from the former president to me came like this and like that, you know. The man is dead. He can't defend himself, you know, and everybody knows that. Okay, yes, he had that issue. But you know, I was even looking at when he died, it took somebody from another region, another person, to announce his death. It shows when people talk about Nigeria being divided. I sometimes it gives me this feeling of we are not patriotic enough. Look at even when Abba Kyari died, it was one person actually said he was my real friend, my close friend, and that was Geoffrey Onyema. It shows how
integrated we can be.
We can be
we actually
in Nigeria.
Can be.
So all we need to do is just to take away all our prejudices and then see how we can be united.
Indeed. Okay, let's take a break now, and then we shift on to some other subject. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, then welcome back, and if we've been together from the top, welcome if you're just arriving. But we've done a fair bit of work. Now, September 19th is the Edo election. That's where all eyes are sort of directed. It's an interesting scenario in Edo State, so we need to see how it will go. We've heard some sort of objection from the opposition in Edo State that the federal might, is being used over them. Of course, that is just the opinion of the candidate of the opposition party in Edo State.
Which one is the opposition party?
The opposition party would be
APC.
No, so you're right. You're right. I got to get. Oh, let me get my ducks in a row. You're very, very right. I have to be very, very correct. PDP is the opposition party.
No. APC is the opposition party because they have the governor is from PDP.
There you go. It's very confusing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
That is
because the governor
that is what
switch parties.
Defecting is always considered.
Yeah. In any case, the governor says that the ruling party nationwide is going to use its might, the police and all of that against them. But we have with us this morning on Skype Mr. Festus Okoye. He's INEC's National Commissioner on Media and Voter Education. Good morning, Mr. Okoye.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm in studio alongside my colleague, Azukwa James.
Very well.
The preparations, give me your sense. September 19th is just around the corner. Give me your sense of the atmosphere. Is it conducive for INEC to do what it likes to do best, which is conduct free and fair elections?
Well, constitutionally and statutorily, our main business is to organize, undertake, and supervise elections, and that's exactly what we've been what we've been doing. We have delivered all the non-sensitive materials required for the conduct of the Edo governorship elections. We have trained our electoral officers, assistant electoral officers. We have trained the security agencies that will be in charge of the elections. And we are revving up our stakeholder engagements. So in terms of preparations and also in terms of getting ready for the elections, we are getting ready. And you also know that we did the nomination processes for all the political parties electronically. And to that particular extent, we have moved very, very fast. The list of all the candidates that are qualified to contest the elections have been displayed in Benin, in our office in Benin. So in terms of preparations, in terms of getting ready, we are getting ready. But the converse can be said for some of the political parties. You can see that in the campaigns that have been going on, some of the candidates, some of the aspirants, some of the political parties have been using intemperate language. They have been using base language. They have been using language that can incite violence, can incite hatred, and so on. So to that particular extent, we have challenges with the type of rallies and campaigns the political parties are doing. But in terms of our preparations, we are on course and we have nothing to fear.
So in terms of, I know they are saying something about violence. Is INEC also going to have it like a stakeholders meeting with the political parties at least, so that we'll be able to have this election on the slated date, which is 19th of September?
Oh, definitely. We are going to meet with the campaign council of all the political parties or whatever council they have set up for the purposes of this particular election. We are going to meet with the candidates. We are going to meet with the political parties. We are going to meet with traditional rulers and religious leaders. We are going to meet with civil society groups and organizations, and also the media and all the critical stakeholders that are important to the conduct of the Edo governorship elections. And this series of engagements will take place within the next week or two. And we're also going to meet with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, made up of almost all the security agencies in Nigeria, to give them the type of information we have in relation to the type of rallies, the type of campaigns that are being conducted, and some of the security information relating to the threats of violence in the election, so that these things can be contained, these things can be degraded before we move into Edo State to go and conduct elections.
So I know some weeks or a month back, you guys had a meeting with the media on how you are going to conduct election in this COVID time. What else? How are you going to conduct this election now? Because I've seen that even in most campaigns, everything concerning the protocols have been done away with. So in terms of INEC,
social distancing,
no social distancing, nothing. So in terms of INEC, what are you going to do at least to maintain that social distancing and follow the guidelines?
You know, we had the Nasarawa Central State Constituency elections on Saturday, and we had scheduled the Nasarawa State Constituency elections before the Edo governorship election, so that we can do some form of test run and learn valuable lessons from that particular election. Now we conducted this election. We provided hand sanitizers for all our presiding officers. We provided infrared thermometers. We provided methylated spirit for our smart card readers. And we also tried to see how people handle the issue of social and physical distancing. So I want to let you know that from the perspective of the commission, that test run was very, very successful. Almost everybody that came to the polling unit had a face mask on. So that one is a positive sign. Secondly, all our ad hoc staff used all the materials we provided in terms of hand sanitizers, in terms of the infrared thermometers, and also in terms of the methylated spirit. The only issue where we had challenges in a few polling units relates to the issue of physical distancing. In some of the polling units, the presiding officers were proactive and marked out the spaces even before the voters arrived. So the voters arrived and then complied with what has already been mapped out. In some of the places, it was very, very difficult to control the crowd, to control the voters. So we have taken all those ones on board. We are going to review the whole thing. We are going to meet with the security agencies. We are going to review how to handle crowd control. But since the political parties are not interested in the issue of physical distancing, they may transport and transpose what they are doing now to the polling units on election day. So when we meet with them at the level of the stakeholders' engagement, we are going to put this thing very, very clear to them, because you cannot, on the basis of desperation, endanger the health and safety of all the voters in Edo State, and they endanger the health and safety of all the ad hoc staff that we are going to deploy. And so we are going to engage them on this and get them to understand the imperative of complying with all the health and safety protocols that have been put in place, both by the government and by the health authorities and by the commission.
I hope you also be putting this into cognizance, as in telling the political parties on election day nobody wears face masks that will have party logos and all. Okay, you also, I know recently you said something about how results will be, transmitted to the headquarters. Can you shed more light on that? Something about electronical.
You see what we are doing. You see, this particular commission is proactive. This particular commission is moving our electoral process towards a direction that will be sustainable and towards a direction that will enable us to do business even in difficult circumstances. And that was why, for political party nomination processes, all the political parties forwarded the list and particulars of all their candidates electronically. So there was no human interface at all. And that is the direction we want to go. For the elections itself, what the law as of today is that the sorting of votes at the polling units, the announcement of the scores of candidates at the polling units will be done manually, and all the scores will be entered into Form EC8A, and thereafter they will be taken physically to the collation center, to the registration area collation center, where they will be collected first, and then it goes to the local government collation center, where it will be collected before it goes to the state collation center. That is the law as of today. But if you notice, for quite some time, the commission has what we call from EC60E, which we normally paste at the polling unit, containing the scores of the candidates at the polling units. So what the commission has now piloted and what we are doing, which for us is still within the legal framework that we are operating in, is that we have a tablet with which we snap from EC8A at the polling unit and then move it into a portal for public viewing. So any individual from any part of the world, from any part of the country, can log into that particular portal and see the polling unit scores of each political party and each candidate in real time. So
okay, one moment, Mr.
Okoye.
Yes. One moment, Mr. Okoye. A viewer has called in. Mazi Okorafor, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sir Yuri.
Okay.
Sayori, my main concern this morning is that if you watch your television and other television houses, you see that there are a lot of political talkers right now during this campaign. Now, I'm trying to find out from our guests there on that Skype, what is the INEC doing in order to stop this? Because it's out of proportion. Because, and people have resorted to one-time destruction of people's property right now. Now the election have not even started. Are they telling us that the INEC permits people to do all sorts of all trances? Both radio and television, it's not heard because an issue of that the youth in that state are being used to mastermind all these things. And now turn it into that biological chemical weapon. Is that what they do? But what is INEC doing? Because what happened in Kogi State should not happen in Edo State.
Okay.
Because at the point of Nigerian assets, Mr. Yuri.
Okay. Let's get Mr. Okoye's reaction.
Mr. Okoye, react, please.
No, you see, the commission has an office, a state office in Edo State, and we have offices in all the local governments. We are following the campaigns that are going on, and we are following everything that is going on. It is not every small act of violence, so to say, that will lead us into taking a huge action in relation to the election. But for us, we have made it very clear to the political parties, and we're also going to make it very clear. The life of each individual is important. No form of insurance cover and no form of compensation can replace the life of a single individual. So we are going to make it very clear to them that we are not going to compromise on the life of any ad hoc staff, and that the life of any voter should not also be compromised. So we are going to give them the chance to pull back from their inflammatory rhetorics and incendiary statements they are making. And thereafter, if it is impossible for us to go ahead with the election because of sustained violence, the commission knows what to do.
Okay, another call, this time from Kafanchan. Chidi, good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Okay, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, in fact, everybody is showing a lot of concern and compassion about the elections that is coming up in Edo State on the 19th of September. But the build-up to the election, as a matter of fact, is going to be characterized with a lot of irregularities, not only from the APC as a political party, but also from the PDP and other smaller parties.
But Chidi, how can you say that? How can you look into the future from where you are now and say that? That it is going to be characterized by a lot of irregularities.
From what we are reading from the media, from the campaign, and what the outgone chairman of the APC, the way he is talking, and I know he has a lot of followers and a lot of influences too. So I would wish he would deploy those influences for the positive side of the betterment of the Edo people.
Thank you very much for calling in, Chidi. I really appreciate your call. That was a bit of a dampener because here we are talking about all the work that's being done to have a successful election. And I don't know, Mr. Okoye, if you care to, comment.
You see, the conduct of elections and the supervision of elections is not a one-day affair. We do a lot of procurement in terms of ballot papers, and our ballot papers are printed to currency standards. And these ballot papers are dated to the date of the elections. we have smart card readers that are poised and reconfigured to the date of elections, so that at 6 o'clock in the morning, before polls open, they will take their time and their date from the sky. We have core members that are trained and paid allowances and deployed before elections. So calling off an election or aborting an election is not a child's play, because taxpayers' money is involved. And that's why we want to let political parties know that anything that will affect the conduct of these elections, that they should avoid it. Not only that, there are also constitutional issues that are very, very germane. Constitutional issues that can fundamentally reconfigure the way politics in Edo State is being organized. And we do not want to get into a constitutional crisis that nobody will know what the outcome will be. That's why we are saying people should pull back so that we can conduct free, fair, peaceful and transparent elections. Okay. And that's the point we're making.
But the point about irregularities that Chidi was apprehensive about, yes. Would you care to comment? Because he sort of was able to look into the future, so to speak, and say that he knows that there are going to be irregularities.
Well, I don't have the capacity of seeing the future or looking into the future, but what I have the capacity of doing is looking at the state of our preparations and also looking at pre-election challenges that are going on, and we see in what ways and by what means we can make sure that we lower tension, we lower the specter of fear, and we get people to vote in an atmosphere devoid of violence, devoid of intimidation, and also devoid of thuggery. And so that's exactly where we are heading to.
Let me bring on Mrs. Obe now. Mrs. Obe is calling in from Ijegun. Mrs. Obi? Mrs. Obi in Ijegun. Good morning, ma'am.
Please, the INEC man is there now. Chidi has spoken his mind. I am appealing to everybody that we should make this election in Edo State fair and free. Please, there should be no violence. Obaseki said they will face violence with violence. Please, we don't want violence. We are tired of violence in Nigeria. Let the INEC people bring in the police. Let the government bring in the police. On that day, it is only Edo State. There are not many states involved. Let us use a lot of policemen to make sure that everything goes on in a fair manner, please. Okay. Uncle Yori, I admire your program a lot. We continue to move forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
But, you know, the governor has also said that the death of any person, one single person, it's not worth it for him, and that he wouldn't do anything that would lead towards that. Mr. Okoye?
Yes, you know, one of the big challenges we have with this end of tenure standalone elections is that because they are standing alone, the attention of the whole nation is focused on one state. The attention of all the governors is focused on one state. All the members of the National Assembly are focused on Edo State. If all these elections were being conducted in one day, each governor will be focusing on his or her own state. But because this is a standalone election, this is an end of tenure election, everybody is there. And because everybody is there, there's so much tension, there are all sorts of interests that people want to project or protect. And that is a very big challenge. So I think that going forward, we must hold the national conversation and ask the question whether there are ways and means by which we can reconfigure our some of these court-ordered rerun elections so that they can pull back and be taken back to a general election, so that at the end of the day, everybody will be facing the same challenge, and the whole nation, the whole international community, and everybody will not be focused on one state. It's because everybody is focused on one state. Everybody has time for Edo State. That's why we are having this level of tension and this level of anxiety relating to the conduct of the elections.
Okay, Prince Olatunjoye in Ikeja. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Thanks. We are grateful for your innovations and all your talks and all this for this program.
Very kind, sir.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to make clear about this Edo election. Are you with me?
Yes, we are. We can hear you.
Yes.
For a governor, a democratically elected governor, to act in the way the governor is acting, depriving the people that are elected, that are being voted for in their consistency, from being sworn in. And he went in the night and swore in six members. Did he think he can do such a thing and go scot-free? The other people, are they going to be happy? And the governor now who is even giving a provocative statement, who's supposed to be a father of the state. It is quite disheartening. Because when you look at people, they just talk, say this, say that on the radio, and we started wondering that in this country, of ours, a person who is democratically elected and doing everything wrong, going on his own with the maybe police or whatever, removing the roofing sheet of a legislative house.
Oh, okay. Prince, thank you for calling in, Prince. And indeed, we do appreciate your calling in and indeed the remarks that you made. But we're focusing on preparations for the election. And we have INEC, and we really are appreciative to Mr. Festus Okoye, the INEC National Commissioner on Media and Voter Education, as he's joined us. You know, I think it's been quite informative, what all the efforts that he's told us, and indeed what the responsibilities are, and then the plans of the future stakeholder meetings that would be held. I guess that has to sort of satisfy us that INEC is, you know, really as far as we can say, doing all that it can do in the circumstances to achieve the desired outcome. Mr. Okoye, I want to thank you for making time to come to speak to our viewers.
Thank you so much.
All right then. So, well, there you go. We would have wanted to get the Nupeng guys too, but the lines are not, they don't always cooperate sometimes to hear what their side is of this particular petrol tanker drivers strike.
Maybe at 12 o'clock.
Of course.
So we'll
I trust you. I trust you guys in the newsroom. You'll stay on it, even if it doesn't fall within our time zone here. TVC News will be on this matter. So that's our program today. Thank you very much to those who called in, made the program, you know, as lively as it was. Mrs. Obi, GD, Mr. George, you know, all the guys. And then also there's a sense in which we also appreciate so many guys that were trying to get in but just couldn't. We know that happens sometimes. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. Azukwa James and I say stay safe as much as you can.